Hey everyone, so this video is going to walk you through just identifying some parts of the graph of a polynomial. And so we're going to start off with the x-intercepts. They're the values of x where your graph crosses the x-axis, your zeros, roots, your solutions. So here's an x-intercept, here's an x-intercept, and here's an x-intercept. Okay, now we're going to look at our y-intercepts. And so if your x-intercepts are where your graph crosses the x-axis, your y-intercepts are going to be where your graph crosses that y-axis. And so here is your y-intercept. Okay, the next 2 points are going to be your maximums or your minimum. Now, because we have arrows here, there's no true maximum or minimum because this graph goes all the way down and it keeps going, and this part goes all the way up and it keeps going. So these maximums that you see, these little humps, the top, or the minimum, which is that lowest point, they're called relative maximums or relative minimums. So here's a relative maximum. And it means that there is a maximum there. It's just not the absolute one. It's not the highest point of the entire graph. It just represents a highest point or a peak. And this is going to be your relative minimum. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about, well, how do you find those x-intercepts, or how do you find those y-intercepts when you're given an equation? And so we know that the x-intercepts um, are your zeros, your solutions. So in this case, if you are given an equation and you're looking to find your x-intercepts, you're going to first set the polynomial equal to 0, and then you're going to factor and solve. Right? So for instance, if we had x squared minus x minus 6, I'm going to set it equal to 0. I'm going to factor. So the factors of 6 are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. And 2 and 3 is going to give me that negative 1. So negative 3 and a positive 2. And then set each pair equal to 0. This is the solving portion. Okay, and so we've done this before. This is how we find your zeros, your roots, your solutions. They are your x-intercepts. When you're looking for your y-intercepts, if you think about the graph of a polynomial, your y-intercept, or any graph, your y-intercept is where the graph crosses that y-axis. And so every x value on this line is going to be 0. So the value of x is going to be 0. And so we're going to take that piece of information and we're going to substitute. So if I have, let's say, 3x squared minus 4x plus 6, and I want to find my y-intercept, well, I'm just going to substitute in 0 everywhere I have an x. So I have 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 6. And this cancels out and gives me 0. This also cancels out and gives me 0. And so y is going to be 6. And so what you'll learn to get used to is your y-intercept is always going to be your constant. So if you had, let's say, x to the 4th or 3x to the 4th minus 2x squared plus 12, well, these, when you substitute 0 in, are going to cancel out. And you're going to be left with that positive 12. And that is going to be your y-intercept.